This is part 5 of Unit 3, Worksheet 3. So I'm going to start by sketching, and I'm going to start with a rectangle for the bottom of the shape. This rectangle is 22 wide and 3 tall. And from this rectangle, I'm going to grab the line tool, and if I hover near the middle, it should lock on to the midpoint, which I can then go straight up 17. And then from this 17, I can type in the distance of 12.7, and then tab to get the angle. And I see that I want it to be 30 degrees lower than this, but here I see the degree is 90. So 30 lower than 90 is 60. Then from here, I'm going to go and try to connect it to our rectangle. But I'm going to watch for the symbol up here that appears when I'm close to perpendicular. There it is. I'm going to make sure that I have that because that means I've got a right angle up here, which is what I want. And then repeat the process over here with one change. I'll type in the distance, and now I see that my angle is quite large because it is measuring from the same line, and so we've got 90 degrees, which get us here, plus another 60 degrees to be 30 less than 180. So 30 less than 180 is 150 degrees. And then I will make the same connection, making sure that I've got that perpendicular constraint. Then the last thing that I will do, and this is a missing dimension, is I'll go 1 from the bottom, and this is where I want the bottom of the circle to pass through. Since this circle has a diameter of 12.5, I'm going to go the radius to find the center. So half of 12.5 is 6.25, and then from that location, I'll make the 12.5 diameter circle. Just right there. I'll finish the sketch and extrude, and I'll extrude the outside of the shape, leaving the circle empty, and it should have a depth of 15. Now at this point you can see that the these creases are too severe, and so I'm going to fillet them, and I'll make the fillet a radius of 2 before I click in there, and then get to the other side and click here as well. Now the last thing that we have to do is put holes in each of the tops here. So I'm going to make a new sketch, and the first thing that I'm going to do is create an X. So I want to make sure that I'm getting that green dot because that means I'm locking onto a point of interest. There we go. And so now this center is where I'm going to put the large circle. The large one has a diameter of 14, and this just gives us 4 intersections for where those smaller holes are going to be. There's also going to be a hole that goes through the top, which has a diameter of 9. And actually, we need these things to be on different sketches. So I'm going to stop here with this X, and I'm going to finish the sketch and get the hole tool, and I'm going to click each of these intersections. Now you'll see that the hole tool that I have right now is much too large. And so I need to change it to not going through all. It has a termination. So it's 1 1/4. Not 1 1/4. 1.4. 1 4/10. 1 2/5. The depth is 2. And our default angle is acceptable. If we look at the front view real quick, that looks right as the shape doesn't go through to the circle, which is what we want. So I'll press OK. And so what's nice is that we actually still have the sketch that we can use again for another hole tool. And so for this one, I'll make the radius 9, and I'll just remove the termination and make sure that goes all the way through, especially as the depth gets a little bit wider here. So I'll press OK. And that side is done. We'll just repeat the process on the other side by making the X, the circle, and then creating those holes. On this other side, I'm actually going to use a point tool while making the sketch. And this will lock onto the intersection, and it'll give a little bit more obvious an anchor for our hole tool when we use that. So you'll see I already made the larger hole, but when I get the smaller hole tool, I set the depth to 2, and the diameter 1.4. Now I can highlight those actual points. That will give us those holes exactly where we want them. That's how you finish part 5 on worksheet 3 of unit 3.